In this video, I will show you how to handle dates using Byteline functions. Most of the integrations, so for example, Webflow CMS or Airtable or any of the integrations, they have a concept of date fields. And when you are sending date related data, it has to be in a specific format. And that's where Byteline functions can really help. So in this use case, so I have this small spreadsheet which just has a title and the date. And on Webflow CMS side, I have this collection which just has the name and posted date. So we're gonna send the data from the spreadsheet into Webflow CMS. And Webflow CMS is just an example. This can be handled in the same way with any of the integrations. Okay, so now let's look into our flow. So I have this simple flow which reads data from the spreadsheet and it's writing to Webflow CMS. And I already did the mapping for slug and name, which is just the first column from this spreadsheet. And now for the date, so I'm gonna pick this column which just has month, date, and year. And now if I save this and run the flow, so you will see that this flow will fail. And the reason being, if you look into the details, so field posted date is not a valid date string. Okay, so now let's look into how to handle this. So it's pretty easy. So what you have to do is, so go on to this posted date field and go to functions, and we have parse date function. So add that, and you need to specify what format your date field is in. So this one, for example, this is the date, and the way you can come up with the format is look into our documentation. So this is our Byteline docs, and you go to the functions page and go to parse date. And here we have the list of various symbols and what each means. So in this case, for the month, we're gonna use MMM, which means a month in a text, in a short text form. And then for date is DD, and then year is this YY, about 4 times Y. Okay, now let's save this and save the task and let's run it again. Okay, so this time it's successful. And if you look into the data here, so we got that data. And the date is February 10th, what we have in this spreadsheet. Okay, so that's one way of handling dates. So now the another function we have available is, so if you just want to set this date to today's date or now's date, so what you can do is just use today function. So all it does is just gonna set the date as the time right now. And now let's also change the this title so that we get a different row in Webflow CMS. So now this will be developer 2. So now let's run this. Okay, so now let's look into the data. So now we got the second row, which is JavaScript developer 2, and here is the date, which is the current time. Okay, so that's another way to handle dates. And now there is another, like the third function that you can use to handle dates. And for this one, I'm gonna use a different flow. So some of the integrations, they give you a date back as like a milliseconds, right? So now if we see that, so let's look into mapping date here in the case of Reddit. So see, this gives you this created date as this number. So you use that, and then we have a function which is called epoch to date. So use that. Actually, this should come at the end. So if that kind of behavior happens, then the function comes in the beginning. So you can always take your cursor to the end and now add the function. Okay, so now let's save this and now let's run it again. Okay, so this is complete. So now let's look into the data. So it inserted one record. And on the Webflow CMS side, so I already got this record. So now let's look into its date. So we got the date as well. Okay, so thanks for watching the video.